All right, today we are going on a journey into a universe that's, well, it's closer than you could possibly imagine. In fact, it's inside you. We're talking about the trillions of tiny organisms that call your body home, your microbiome.
So let's just jump right in with a question that might honestly change how you see yourself forever. I mean, when you look in the mirror, who do you actually see? What if I told you that the person you think of as you is really only half the story? It's a question scientists have been wrestling with for a while now. Are you actually more microbe than human?
For the longest time, the story we were told was that we were outnumbered 10 to 1, 10 microbial cells for every one human cell. But, science moves on, and with better tools, that number's been totally revised. And the reality? Well, it's no less mind-blowing. The ratio is about 1 to 1. That's right. For every single human cell that makes up your body, there's a microbial partner living right alongside it. This is a huge shift in how we think about biology, right? We're moving away from seeing all bacteria as these evil invaders to understanding that most of them are our essential partners. This connection is so deep that scientists now have a name for us, a supraorganism, a single being made of both human and microbial parts, all working together as one. So, what does being a superorganism actually mean in practice? Well, it all starts with the most fundamental thing there is, our genes, or as we're about to see, their genes. Just look at these numbers. It's staggering. Our own human genome, the blueprint for us, has about 23,000 genes, but our microbiome, it brings an estimated 8 million plus genes to the table. This is our second genome. And it's this massive genetic library that gives us hundreds of crucial abilities that our own DNA just can't do. All of this genetic firepower means that the microbiome is basically acting like a vital organ, a really, really important one that for most of history, we just completely missed. So let's take a look at what this forgotten organ is busy doing for you, like right this second. Okay, so this is a perfect example of teamwork. Think about something like dietary fiber from plants. Our bodies on their own can't break it down at all. We just don't have the tools. But for our gut microbes, it's a feast. They ferment that fiber and, in the process, create these amazing compounds called short-chain fatty acids, or SCFAs for short. These things are like rocket fuel for the cells lining your gut, keeping them healthy. And get this, they can provide up to 10% of your total daily calories. And they're not just energy producers. Your microbiome is also a little vitamin factory, churning out essential nutrients we can't make ourselves. We're talking about things like vitamin K2, which is critical for blood clotting and keeping your bones strong, plus a whole suite of B vitamins like folate and B12, which are absolutely essential for our energy and brain function. But the microbiome's influence doesn't stop with digestion. Not even close. It actually reaches into the most complex and personal part of who we are, our brain. This is where we get the incredible idea of the gut as a second brain. You might be wondering, how on earth can bacteria in my gut affect my thoughts or my mood? Well, the connection is real, it's physical. It's a massive nerve called the vagus nerve, and it literally acts like a superhighway, buzzing with information traveling back and forth between your gut and your brain every single second of every day. And here is the real kicker. Who do you think does most of the talking on the superhighway? You'd assume it's the brain, right? The big boss sending orders down to the gut? But the data shows the complete opposite. A whopping 85% of the traffic on this nerve highway flows from the gut up to the brain. Your gut is constantly sending status updates right to your head. And what kind of updates is it sending? Well, how about this little fact? You've heard of serotonin, right? The famous feel-good chemical that's so important for our mood. A mind-blowing 95% of it isn't made in your brain. Nope, it's made in your gut, and its production is massively influenced by your microbes. This completely changes how we think about mental health. An imbalance might not start in the head, but way down in the gut. So, this partnership is obviously powerful, but it's also really delicate. So what happens when this beautifully balanced inner world gets thrown into chaos? What happens when things go wrong? Well, the scientific name for that state of chaos is dysbiosis. And it's important to note this isn't about one single bad guy taking over. It's more like an ecological disaster. It's a loss of the good guys, an overgrowth of some unhelpful ones, and just an overall crash in the diversity of the community. This really shows the difference. A healthy gut is like a thriving, diverse rainforest. It's resilient, has a strong intestinal barrier, and keeps everything in a calm, anti-inflammatory state. A dysbiotic gut, on the other hand, it's more like a barren field, low diversity. The gut wall starts to become permeable, what people call a leaky barrier, and the whole system flips into a pro-inflammatory state. And that is why this all matters so much. That leaky barrier lets things cross into your bloodstream that shouldn't be there, which triggers your immune system. The result is this constant, nagging, low-grade inflammation, which scientists now see as a key driver behind so many modern diseases, from things like inflammatory bowel disease all the way back to depression. Okay, but here's the good news. This is the hopeful part of the story. If your microbiome is an ecosystem, that means you can be its gardener. You actually have the power to cultivate it, to help the good stuff flourish. So how do you become a good steward of this amazing inner world? Now, lots of things matter. Stress, sleep, exercise, they all play a part. But the science is overwhelmingly clear on one point. The food you eat, day in and day out, is the single most powerful tool you have to shape your microbial community. Because in the end, you aren't just what you eat, you are what they eat. And here's a pretty simple toolkit to get you started. First up, prebiotics. Think of these as fertilizer for your good gut microbes. They're the fibers found in foods like garlic, onions, and asparagus that your good bugs love to eat. Second, fermented foods. Things like yogurt, kefir, and kimchi. These are amazing because they deliver a whole community of live microbes, which helps boost overall diversity. And finally, probiotics. These are more targeted, introducing specific, well-studied strains of bacteria that can help with specific issues. So the main thing to take away from all this is that your microbiome isn't set in stone. It's a dynamic, living garden that responds to the choices you make every single day. You are its head gardener. And that leaves us with one last pretty powerful question. What will you choose to grow?